Hello, everybody, and welcome.
All right, folks. The the audio dropped, so I could hear it on my side. So I can fix it over here. Give me 1 second. So there's two different ways we can play videos. The one way we can play them is by loading them into the broadcast software, which usually works, but every now and then there is a technical malfunction. However, the easiest way to do this is by taking our display capture and by sizing it to fit our screen and to simply capture the output. So if you give me about 10 seconds, hopefully you can still hear me. Can you hear me? Am I still good? Am I still coming through clear? Because I got you covered. Um, if you can't hear me, that means it is a Twitch issue. If you can't hear me, then it is a OBS and vMix issue. So we are going to do a quick switch over. Thank you so much for letting me know, ASAP. We, in the broadcasting world, salute you. So file organization is our friend, and all right. So we are going to take this to top. We are going to switch over, and we will get you right back to where you were. And with that, with the magic of modern cinema, we will go live. So I'm going to mute out my mic so you don't hear me typing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to WebDM Plays The Dark Eye, sponsored by Ulysses Spieler. We are about to begin a whole brand new adventure today. I am incredibly excited. There's a lovely bunch of people sat here with me today, but before we get to talk to them or find out who their characters are, I'd like to begin our story. Now, imagine old lady Susie's sat here. She's got a book in her lap. Our story begins, like all the best ones do, in a tavern. In the city of Havana on the western coast, it is a bustling port city. It is surrounded by trade. It is wealthy. It is influential. There is a whole route of land and sea trade routes, and some say some incredibly spooky rumors in the depths of the city. But we'll get to that later as we pan up from the spooky depths to a very cozy, warm tavern. There's a big hearth with a big fire in it. There's roasted meats. It smells delicious. Ale and meat and vegetables are roasting on the air. And it's just a warm, welcoming, homely sort of place. Outside, you can see through the window. The rain is pouring as it is a dark and gloomy day here in Havana. But seated at a table, we see Jim. If you'd like to see, we'll imagine this like it's a video game and we're doing the character select, right? So
Yes.
we panned across to you.
All right. So Garayan, he is, I imagine he's seated with some locals. You know, he's not from around here. In fact, he's from somewhere along the East Coast, Paracum. But he's found some people close by who would willing to dice with him. You know, he's got his dice out. They're smoking. They're drinking. He's laughing. and he's super into it, right? Garayan is this old hat at this kind of game, but for the most part, he's relaxed, not too worried about anything, and probably taking some of them for a bit of a ride, given his skill and facility with gambling.
What does Garayan look like?
Garayan has longish black hair, sort of a rugged look to him. He spends a lot of time outside. For the most part, he has an easygoing, sort of casual demeanor to him, not too tense or anything like that. But he also has a kind of an attitude of casual violence to him. He wears a sword and a dagger. His clothes suggest that he's traveled far and wide, and he seems comfortable where he is. Like he's not going to be surprised or taken off guard by anything. That's how he's at. That's what he's like right now.
Nice. Seated next to Garayan, we pan across to Shirang, your character.
Yeah, so Tariq is a very, very handsome young man. He is wearing the formal but traveling version of the Black Mage Guild of Fazar's outfit. So it's traveling, but it still like looks like everyone can tell he is a black mage. He has this enormously long staff next to him, and he is incredibly like curious about everything. He's like looking around like, ooh, I'm in another country, like this is so exciting. A lot of people in the tavern are looking at him uneasily because the black mages are known to be mind mages, and they can do all kinds of mind things that scare people. But Tariq, and remember, he's from the country that's like inspired by both India and the Middle East. And so he has that like South Asian, Middle Eastern look about him, and he's like excitedly looking around, like ooh, and like he might be like excitedly saying things to Garayan once in a while, and I don't know how Garayan was responding to that, but he's like, "Oh yeah, ooh, this ale is so different. I'm not used to this. Oh, this is so exciting."
Do we might speak the same language, Tariq?
Yeah,
Tulamidia.
Yes, so I am fluent in Tulamidia, and I speak a couple of other languages as well, because I'm a guild mage. But I'm like excitedly speaking to you in Tulamidia, being like, "Oh my god, ooh, this is so cool! Yesterday I saw this like little old lady. Look at this, she was so cool."
I think Garayan, not a man for a lot of words, just like, "Oh yeah, that's that's great."
And I'm like, I'm content with you just listening, and I'm just like, ooh.
Maybe he's still learning. He's not a native speaker, so he's like, "Oh yeah, that's good.
Nice.
Very good, very good."
Nice.
It's me whenever I'm in French Canada. Yes. All right, and seated along the same table, which I imagine is quite a large table, so you don't have to be all like cudged up together. Liam, who do we see?
Kia ora. You see Tuarangi, although more commonly known as Tu, because everyone struggles to say his name. He probably stands out a wee bit in that he is a traveling tribesman from down in the forests of Mohaha, I believe it's called in the setting. And he looks very much the part of the traveling, what the locals probably refer to as a noble savage, in that he's dark-skinned, with a combination of scarification and tattoo all across his face, which immediately makes him stand out wherever he goes. Up, I'm assuming we're somewhere in the Empire. So he's got these designs tattooed all across his face, and it's actually sort of carved into his skin. It's got like a 3D texture to it.
Nice.
And under that, he's wearing a mixture of clothing that he sort of picked up along the way. So he's got sort of imperial, sort of like a shirt on and pants, completely shoeless, however, barefoot on the ground, enjoying all the stickiness that comes with most bars, no doubt. And around his shoulders is wrapped a tribal sort of blanket with feathers adorning it. And he's just enjoying the food. He's sitting there tucking in and just sort of zoning everyone out. Food's a very important thing for him. and next to him is a rather ornate staff. It almost looks like a spear, but it's carved of wood. It does not have a sharp tip on the end, but the tip does look like perhaps the head of a beast with a long sort of tongue coming out of it, which is rested up next to him. And he occasionally glances at it the way that you'd glance at an old friend. He's looking at it almost as if it's a living thing. But otherwise, he's just sitting there. He's tucking in. He's drinking the ale. He's enjoying the local ambiance, you could say.
I imagine he's got quite the feast too, with it being a port town right on the edge of the water. There's all sorts of fish and spices and everything brought in from all over the world. So I imagine he's getting a great sample of just like the craziest shit you could probably imagine. Like it's just all here. Yeah. So I imagine the chefs here in Havana are just like, yeah, fuck it, let's just bash some of this together, see how it goes.
Absolutely. Yeah, and heaps of seafood. And he's not a quiet eater either. He's
maybe Tarek's talked to him from time to time about the food, like, oh, how'd you like that? Is that cool? I want to try some too, that kind of thing.
While he eats, he is polite, but you can tell his focus is on gustation at the time.
I respect that. All right, so panning across from two on his mighty feast, we have Emma.
Ortleaf Opfer is probably quite involved in this gustatory activity. Ortlieb is a giant man. He is wide. He has like the best mustache you've ever seen. He looks like a living like Bavarian pretzel guy, but alive. He looks like he ate Mario. Like he's huge, and he is dressed, to people who are paying attention, in really, really fine clothing that he has made all for himself in the most, sensible and sort of useful, sort of utilitarian cuts that he possibly can have. He's got incredibly nice socks, incredibly nice shoes, an incredibly nice apron, because most of the time he is a merchant of spices and foods and fine, delicious things. And to that end, he is probably working with the chefs, sort of as an intermediary between them and two. And he is working as a space. Essentially, he's ordering, he's your fixer, he's your expediter. He is taking things out of his little pouches and sprinkling it on just to make it just a little bit better. And he is willing to do this for the entire room if they want. He's the kind of guy who will get that sort of attention.
So are we saying he's kind of like the Pringles man and Salt Bay?
And what?
And the Salt guy, the Salt Bay guy, chef guy?
Yes, he's kind of, yes. He's very, very gregariously doing that, and he's having the time of his life.
I imagine that the patrons of this tavern are actually quite glad of this. It's a little, almost like a little traveling show, right? They're just sat eating their food, and then all of a sudden, here comes this mustachioed man. It's like, try some of this, bam. Yep. And their dinner is just like, just out of this world.
And just for a nominal fee, really. Just really.
Small fee.
It's just to cover the cost of, I brought this a long way.
So quick question, as he is going around dispensing these spices, does he tell the people up front there's going to be a small fee, or is he, bam, give me your money?
He tells people first, if you would like it, I could do this for you. And it is very, very difficult, I imagine, for most to say no. He's the king of the upsell.
Excellent.
Yes.
This is a guy who's just sat there with some bread, and he's like, no, it's just bread. And then by the end, he's got lobster thermidor on his plate.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very confused why this has happened, and yet
but happy.
And so the evening is progressing kind of just calmly and quietly. This is a really just nice restful period here. Like you may have been traveling for some time, or you've had busy days selling spices or exploring the town, the city of Havana. And most of the patrons are starting to tootle off out now. They're starting to go home or to where they're staying. A couple are staying in rooms up above. And the barkeep is doing the usual, leaning on the bar with a rag, being like, please leave please leave. I just want to just please, I want to go home. But as you're beginning to enjoy this rest, lightning strikes outside, and because Susie loves pathetic fallacy, the door slams open and you see a shadow in the door. You see a small, thin figure wearing a cloak pulled over their head come in, and they are illuminated behind with a dramatic lightning strike. And they stand there in the doorway for a moment, and you can see that they're visibly shaking from the cold of the rain.
Can we see who this is? Anything about their features and all that? Because I'd be like, oh, someone new. How exciting.
So after an extremely dramatic pause, the figure steps inside and pulls the cloak back, and you can see that this is a young woman, and her skin is tan, but she's covered in dirt and muck, and her dark hair is all over the place. She's got cape hair, and she's clearly wet through, and she's looking around, panicked, like she's just looking around.
I look at my companions and like, oh my god, this woman looks like she's looking around panicked.
I guess. I mean, didn't the guy say we were closing? I mean, should we go and let her know that?
Ortlieb is already walking towards her with a towel.
I don't know the place.
Oh. And I'm like, I don't know the etiquette in this country. Can you help strangers, or is that rude?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, it looks like Ortlieb is going to start, so if anyone's rude, he'll be the rude one.
Ortlieb responds to you in broken Tulamidia. Yes, of course you can help strangers. Yes.
Sometimes people get annoyed when I approach them. I don't know why. I'm such a friendly person.
So I will go up to her, and I believe I can speak Garethi, which is like the common. And I just say, are you all right, miss? And give her a towel.
She almost tears the towel from your hands and is clinging onto it tightly as she looks at you with wide eyes. Are you one of them adventurers I've heard so much about?
Sorry.
Welcome to my voices. They ain't good.
Love it.
Love it. It's great. Are we adventurers? Well, I mean, I suppose we are adventurers. Yes.
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 Full of adventures and dashing tales and monster slaying and all that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Well, I need you. I need your help.
Are you on an adventure?
No. Well, not in purpose, at least.
Forgive us. That's usually we try to understand, or at least have an idea of what it is that you need help with first before agreeing. What can we do?
All right. And she sort of starts dabbing herself with this towel and trying to straighten up her hair, and she just comes and makes herself comfortable at the table with you. She sits down.
Can I do something as she's sitting down?
Go for it.
So I am trained by the Black Mage Guild of Fazar, and we're trained to be like, we are cool and powerful and magical, and no one stands in your way. Mm-hmm. So I am trained to be like, there's nothing wrong into just mind reading someone when they appear. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like naturally, oh yeah, she seems worried. I'm gonna mind read her to see what's wrong. So I'm going to gaze into her mind, and I'm a black mage, so my iris and my entire eye goes completely pitch black. As I'm like, completely natural.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you making any attempt to conceal this, or are you just kind of looking at her with these spooky black eyes?
I think she will get to make a perception check, which means I'm not showily doing this, but if she knows about magic and looks at me and succeeds on that, she might realize I'm not trying to outwardly conceal, but I'm not being showy.
Okay.
So the target can notice something is amiss by making a perception check with a penalty equal to the spell's QL.
Okay, what is your spell's QL?
Okay, so I think I need to make a roll, right? This is the first roll of the game.
Sure is.
So do you want us to do this on roll 20?
Wherever you like.
Okay, so /R D20. How to do 3D20? Just 3D20, right?
Yeah, it should be /R3D20.
Okay, so this is Gazima is courage, sagacity, and int, and that's 14, 15, 12. So I'm gonna make this roll. Did that
That's
work?
very good.
It should have rolled 3. Oh, I did. No. Did that not roll 3?
It didn't roll 3, it just rolled 1.
3D20.
Oh, there we
Okay,
go.
so 5, 17, and 1. So I have, I don't think I succeed because I have 5 points in that, right? And I need to roll below, not above,
Below,
right?
below. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so that means I have enough skill points, so I have 5. So I have enough skill points to reduce that 17 to a 15.
Okay.
And then I have 3 skill points left over,
Ooh.
which I think means that's a quality level of 3.
It sure is.
Of 1. Sorry.
Oh, of
Oh, yeah,
1?
3. Sorry, yes. Yeah. Because if you have 7 to 9 SR points left, that's 3.
Yeah.
Okay. And I spend 8 of my AE. So it's just a quick. I'm not reading for a long time, so I'm not spending extra time for that. I'm just doing it quickly. Yeah. And so what do I? And then she might do a perception check with a penalty of 3 because my quality was 3.
Okay, let's have a look, see how she does. So you sit down and you're looking at her, but you kind of, I feel like you've gotten to a point now where you recognize that you need to just sort of little bit, not be super obvious, like stare at her like with mind bullets as you do. But she seems to be quite distracted anyway. Like she's clutching this towel and she's looking around everybody and like really focusing on everyone to like, draw into the scene. So she doesn't really notice. She notices you're acting a bit strangely, but you're an adventurer. You're all weirdos. Like you willingly go and risk your lives to do stuff. Like, So, what does your mind reading spell do? What does it allow you to see?
So, I'm looking at my spell, gaze into the mind. Okay, you can read the target's mind. You can see what the target is thinking at the moment, but cannot search through memories. So she doesn't. If successful, the target can make a willpower check to send out thoughts with misleading information if she wants to. But she doesn't know that I'm doing this, so she probably cannot do that part. Yeah, so it's main thoughts that you're thinking at the moment is what I can get. So images.
Okay, so what you see is it's like in an action movie where it's tons of just quick short images smash cut together with tons of motion blur, but no lens flare. You see and hear the sound of running and heavy breathing. You smell fire, and you can hear the ring of steel and a little cry. And you can see floating on a reflection in a puddle. You can see like what appears to be a house on fire, a village on fire.
So I have the curious negative trait, so I'm instantly all ears and I'm listening. I'm like, oh, this is so exciting. I want to know what's happening. And I'm now silently listening.
And she douses herself off and she's got herself in a position. She's steadied her breathing somewhat. She says, well, I come from the town of oh god, what was it called? What was it? I come from a town, and we were attacked by something. I don't know what it was, but it had horrible voices, like piercing and horrible and guttural, and it didn't look like me or you. It looked like something horrible with this oily skin, and it was short-ish, I think, and had these horrible weapons, and it just set everybody's houses on fire, and I tried running as fast as I can, but I couldn't. And she starts getting into like hysterics, and she's just getting higher and higher pitched until the point where there's a dog asleep by the fireplace that wakes up like
Did I see the creature she's describing in her thoughts?
You did not.
Okay.
this sound like anything we know about?
I'm sure there's a check we could roll
Yeah,
to find
certainly.
that out.
I'm not particularly knowledgeable about
Look
much
at
other
this.
than war and gambling.
I know a lot about myths and legends, if that is helpful.
Hit me up with the myths and legends.
Okay, let's see how this goes. I believe that's a knowledge check, so that's there. And
It is sagacity, and int.
okay, so I'm gonna do our 3d20s, and I got a 54. That's not good in this game. I rolled very high.
Fine.
Yeah. So we go by each individual dice.
Yes.
So what is your sagacity level?
My sagacity level is click click. Where'd it go? I have an 14 in sagacity.
Okay. So we'd have to bring that first die down by 4, the second one down by 2. What is your SR when it comes to myths and legends?
It is my SR is 10.
10. Okay,
Yes.
so we could feasibly do this.
Okay.
What is your int?
That is 14.
14 by 6. Okay, we can't do this.
I also rolled.
So close.
I rolled as well, and
Uh-huh.
I got quality level 2 success.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
So, Otley, while you're racking your brain trying to think of what this is, you've traveled a whole bunch. You've talked to tons of folks. You've seen some shit. And to you, this could be the work of goblins.
Hmm.
Okay. Does 2 know much about goblins? In particular,
that's
is there a reason why
entirely-
they'd attack? Or
I think 2 probably knows that goblins are kind of scavengers almost. They're kind of like the birds of, like vultures, carrion. They will attack small settlements and carry out raids if they need anything, such as, like supplies, food, even just shiny trinkets, or maybe someone in the village pissed them off, or, that something has driven them to attack. They may be hungry, they may be moving through the area, or there's just something really shiny in a window.
okay. Okay. So while she's talking and Two's putting this together, he's in the process of like sucking a bone completely clean. There is nothing left on it. And then he sort of puts it down, and he sort of scrunches over on. I'm imagining he's on a bar seat, and he sort of just taps the seat for the woman to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just, yeah, Wahini, you got a goblin problem.
Goblins? Is that what they're called?
That makes sense. Goblins.
I've read about them, and I start going into my backpack to pull out my magic book.
She looks at 2. So what does this mean then? What is this a problem we can solve, or do I have to move?
When you left the village, was there many of your people left, or do you think you're the only one that got out?
I don't know. I was the fastest.
Oh.
How long does it take to get to your village from here?
Well, quite a bit. I ran quite far, and I did steal a horse, but don't tell anyone.
I pull out my Encyclopedia Magica and I open to Goblin. I'm like, is this what you saw?
And as you point out the image, she physically recoils, and she's like, "That's it!"
Oh, exciting! I've never met one in real life before.
Well, you don't, because they've got these spears and things. And
But Garayan is really good at fighting. We'll be fine. They're I clap Garayan on the shoulder.
Thank you, Tariq. How far away did you say it was?
Well, I'm not very good with my numbers. You
How many
see,
days?
it took me a day or 2, maybe even 3, Well, I'm from this place called Boxshag, you know? It's in the swamps.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's goblins, then they're probably gone, but we can track them, I think.
Or
Would
we could
you
go
like
back
has
and-
no
us?
idea.
Is there anything you want us to do? Do you want us to go and save your? Do you want to find the survivors? We're not entirely sure what you'd like from us, ma'am. You just seem very panicky.
Well, I mean, if goblins had just come and burned down your house, you'd be a bit panicky too. But in fairness, yeah, if you could go and cleanse the area of the goblins and maybe find my family that I did leave behind in the mud and find survivors. They might have taken them. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
And
I don't see
also,
why not.
I did have a cow that I love very much, Bessie.
Ooh.
Oh,
Bessie?
well,
Yeah, Bessie.
now that you mention a cow.
Yeah, I grew up in a farm before going to the Fazar Guild, so I'm like, oh, cow.
It's a cow. Did we
Like
get her
the
name?
cats.
Do we know her name?
Yeah, what's your name?
What's your
Oh,
name?
shit. And I never prepare card names. My name's Gemma.
Gemma?
I'm like, Gemma,
That's a good name.
I have a room paid for by the guild here. And so while we're traveling, why don't you take that room? Be careful not to touch lots of things because it may explode. But you can touch the bed and you can stay here while we fetch your cow and your family. But cow.
Cow and family, yeah, but Bessie is a very good cow. I cannot state enough how good of a cow Bessie is.
I'm
Get the
grinning.
cow.
I'm grinning with my very handsome grin. Because I have to keep reminding all the players that Tariq is very handsome.
Very handsome. And you actually see as she looks at you, Tarek, there is a little blush across her cheeks as
Yes.
she cannot resist. Her friends and family may be long dead in goblin food, but
Handsome.
Ortley puts his arm around her and produces a very good sandwich out of his other pocket and gives it to her, and just says, "Don't you worry, Gemma. We'll help Bessie and hopefully your family."
Is it a beef sandwich as we talk about rescuing the cow?
It's like a very rare beef sandwich. It's not quite clear how long it's been there, but it's delicious. It's great.
It's fermented. It's
Very
pickled
good.
beef.
It's aged. There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah.
there we
Beef.
go. And
Certainly.
she's chewing it like she's got the towel still in her hand and the sandwich in the other. It's just
You'll-
a horrible mess.
That's fine. It's the kind of sandwich where you need a towel anyway. It's fine.
Oh,
Yeah, I want to make arrangements that she can stay in my room. I tell the barkeep or whatever. I'm like, my good man. I clap him and I'm like, let this lovely young lady stay in my room, but tell her not to touch anything because it might explode.
and the barkeep like nods and he's like, I've heard about your room. Don't worry.
And I
All the
grin.
staff have been warned. And Gemma eats her sandwich and she looks at you all with big eyes. Though you can tell she's very tired. She's got huge bags under her eyes and she's covered in dirt and grime from traveling at a fast pace for a few days.
Mhm.
And she says, well, thank you all for this. I hope you come back for a start.
And I clap Garayan. I'm like, oh yeah, Garayan always comes back.
Thank you. And well, I guess we could get leaving now. It's not like nighttime, is it?
It's drawing in, like the day is pretty much coming to a close.
Oh, okay.
Because
So
it's
should we
more
leave?
dramatic.
Should we leave tomorrow or tonight?
I mean,
So he
if
thinks
I
this is a tomorrow job.
tomorrow, job,
Yeah.
I don't want to ride in the night and
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be
clothes soaked.
dangerous.
And,
My mule does not like going past 6 p.m. He doesn't. He won't do it.
and it wouldn't do us any good to show up soaked and exhausted anyway if there might be goblins there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it makes sense.
Well, and,
Yeah.
and you know, you'll get lost in the dark.
Well,
Can't find the
if,
roads.
Yeah.
if
It's been a couple of
Gemma's
days.
using,
We need to be honest. This isn't a rescue mission. It's a recovery mission. So there's no rush.
Certainly.
Yeah.
certainly.
oh,
Two's right.
two.
Well,
Two's
you
right.
know, things are hard.
Very
Well,
good.
if Gemma's
What is-
using my room, could I have found some company to spend the night with and not have to use my
Absolutely,
room?
absolutely. There is a fine person who has taken quite the shine to you tonight, Tariq.
It's
from
because a dangerous bad boy, black mage, you know.
Uh-huh,
Yes.
uh-huh. I think this is a young blacksmith, right? And he has been like low-key flexing at you the whole night across the tavern, giving you the eyebrow and the
Yes. And I took the cantrip where my fingers can become extra flexible. By the way. I took that cantrip. It's called Serpent
I am
Hand.
sure that
So,
will be very
yeah.
useful.
Okay, great.
And he's very impressed.
I took it on purpose.
Gemma is taken up to Tariq's room and she walks in like this, like lies down on the bed like this, and she don't touch anything. And you watch as Tariq is escorted from the tavern tonight on the arm of this very handsome, muscular young man.
Tariq will be in a good mood tomorrow then. Is there anything local that we might know about just like the state of things? Is this a common occurrence or are we just not familiar enough with the area to know?
I would say that this is perhaps the first thing you have heard about a goblin attack, like this close to the city.
So maybe we only arrived like a few days ago or something.
Sounds like it. Yeah,
Okay.
sounds like it. This is like really far from Gorian's home.
Yeah. We're from the same-ish area, right, Garayan?
Yeah. He's like,
I guess, yeah.
Paracum is like right north of Arania and some of the other like East Coast cities. Or
Yeah, okay,
places,
cool.
I guess. Yeah.
You guys would have probably figured out that this place seems wealthy enough that like common monster problems shouldn't be a problem here. You know, like
Okay.
it's a pretty wealthy city, so they can afford like a good city guard, and like they have patrols and rangers and stuff that go out and deal with the common sort of issues you get.
Yeah.
But the fact that this happened so close and she made it into town and she happened to stumble upon you guys is a little strange.
Yeah. Well, in the morning when we're collecting, because of that, I'm like, oh, so I broke into the fortress of her mind yesterday when she was chatting with us, and she seemed to be telling the truth. I saw what she saw, and it seemed like there was some creatures. I couldn't see the goblins, but there was some creature, and there was a fire. And unless it's an implanted memory, I couldn't delve deeply. I can if you want me to, literally break down her mental state and learn more. But it seemed to be that she was telling the truth.
It seems like
I say that very cheerfully. Oh, that makes sense. That's a good point. Gorian, what would I do without you?
I don't know, Tariq. I don't know.
Though I did have a good night yesterday without you.
I'm glad. You seemed rather nice too.
He was. He liked my cantrips.
Well, there is that one that you have that's most people like.
And I make my fingers literally form a knot. Like, I'm like, because cantrips don't take AE, right? So, yeah.
I'm ready to set out. I don't know how everybody else feels about it.
Two's
got-
keen to go have a look. He's just basically letting, let's go see for ourselves. We'll figure it out.
I've got my mule all packed up. He's been brushed and he's perfect. And I have a little cart that I'm taking.
Oh, nice.
With it's got an axle to take my considerable amount of belongings.
So do we
Have
want to
to
take the
know.
whole cart with us, though, or do you want to keep that back in case we get attacked by goblins?
Well, I mean, I suppose I could find a place for I named him Pferd, which is the German word for horse. Ironic.
Your horse's name is Horse.
My mule's name is Horse. And I suppose I could keep him here. I mean, he's not really used to being without me, but I suppose I could keep him here. If we think we could go faster. He's pretty fast for a mule.
Well, Ortlieb, I just don't know that a mule is appropriate for a muddy, burned down goblin raided
Infested,
town.
Yeah.
But sure, mule, your spices,
Yes.
your jewelry and perfumes and
Tell you
coffee.
what, give me a second, and he's gonna reconfigure everything, and he has an incredibly well-designed backpack that he puts everything in. And then he goes inside and talks to somebody for a second, and they're gonna take care of Farid.
Nice. And I'm like, just tell them if they touch anything, it'll explode.
That's, I mean, if they don't follow his diet, if they don't follow the instructions, that's going to happen. So
You look across to the stables. There's a
Very
young
good.
stable hand with a brush, just like
Listen to the instructions.
listening to see if this fucking mule starts ticking.
he has
Oh my god.
he has like on vellum, he has the instructions prepared, and it's very, very complicated. He's a very spoiled mule. Yeah.
They only
love
drink single
everything
malt
about this.
whiskey. I love it.
Mhm.
Okay. So
I'm
you're
fine
ready
walking.
to head out. You start walking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you start walking through the city, and I like to do, when I'm GMing, as little work as possible and put it on you, the players. So
Certainly.
when you're walking through this city, I would like you folks to tell me about one place you walk through. What is it like? Give a bit of flavor to this city. So it's not
Nice.
just a boring, like, this is the fish market kind
Nice.
of.
So, Susie, tell us like one descriptor about the city in general, or one or two descriptors.
It is, as I said before, it's a port city.
Port
So
city,
it's very
right.
busy.
Right.
And because of that, it's also very wealthy.
Nice. Cool.
So you can expect a higher standard of sort of like buildings and shit and people around here, like
Nice.
clothing standards, stuff like that.
Culturally,
Nice.
what kind of city is it? Is it like a northern-ish? Everybody's in like tiny wooden houses with keeps the heat in, or is this like a more spread out sort of? Everybody's enjoying the weather kind of city.
Well, according to this, there's a population of over 30,000 people.
It's quite
So
big.
I imagine that it's kind of, built up with stone, kind of small, narrow streets in residential
Nice.
areas, that
Alright,
kind
yeah.
of place.
Nice. So I think, because I'm really into soaps and perfumes, right?
Mhm.
So I'm gonna say every once in a while they manage to catch a whale. And so we passed by a shop that I was looking at yesterday, which uses the ambergris to make perfume and uses the oil to make soap. And so it's like it's like a soap and perfume store, and it's kept very it's all pale colors like lavenders and pinks and things. And I flirted with the shopkeep a bit yesterday when I was buying I just flirt naturally is what I do. I bought some whale perfume, and so we passed by this, and as we passed by, the scent of mint, and they just released a new line of mint rose perfume. And that wafts out as we pass in this narrow road by this cool shop. I said, let's walk that way. It's nice. And so that we could smell all
It's
this.
very nice. Very nice. As someone who's quite vain, Gorion is, maybe stops by and picks up a little file for himself as well. He's probably going to get really nasty on the road. And someone has to, keep their hair nice for
Yeah.
any occasion.
I mean, Tarek and Grind have a lot in common. I love it.
Right.
I imagine
Yeah.
this shopkeep, as Gorion walks in and asks for oils and stuff for travel, he's like, I got you. Pulls out a drawer,
That right there.
and there's just vials and vials and vials, and he's shoving all these scents under your nose. But eventually, I think you come to one.
Nice.
Very good, very good. He'll take a nice bit. Brian is also decked out in jewelry. Like he wears most of his wealth on his person and doesn't try to hide it either. He's very confident in the fact that he's decked out in silver and gold,
Nice.
and the like. And so yeah, he'll take some of that. He'll take a little bit of this. Such a great place. Where'd you find this treat? Very nice, very nice.
Oh yeah, it's actually famous. They export all over the world, and there's actually a little shop in Fazar who sells some of their their ambergris perfumes. And so when I came here, I thought I simply must look into it.
Yes. What would I do without you? What would I
And
do
I'm actually genuinely really happy, because I find it hard to make non-guild friends because they're scared, rightly so, that I will break into the fortress of their mind. So I'm really happy that a non-guild person and I are bonding.
Yeah. I don't think Gorion minds, because he only really thinks about 2 or 3 things anyway. And so it's like, I don't really have a lot of secrets And if Tariq has ever read his mind, he's really just thinking about gambling, carousing, and fighting.
Awesome. Love it. Love it.
Simple man. Simple man.
Yes.
You gotta respect him. What do Otlib and 2 think about this shop? Because I imagine it's like crazy. It's like a textile shop, but for scents. There's like bottles and vials and like aerolizers all over the place. Like it's decadent.
Yeah.
There's silks everywhere.
They
and
probably have
gold.
like a whale like part displayed because they make all their stuff from whale. So maybe there's like a mini like whale motif or model or whale
Do you know
bone
what there is
carving.
over the front door? Whale bones. Like
Yes, nice.
like you go through whale bones to go in.
And then whale is expensive, so it's a symbol of this is a wealthy store.
Mhm.
Ortley probably finds
Two-
it. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go.
Okay. He's probably going to stay outside because he is extraordinarily sensitive to taste and smell. And this is probably just like way too much for him, but he's probably going to ask Tarek if they can pick up just something very simple like a lemongrass like thing.
Yes, I
Something like
got
that.
you, babe. I've got you.
Thank you. And he'll give you the money for it.
Nice.
And it'll be good. But he's gonna stay outside, and he's going to sing beautifully. He's an incredibly good singer. He will hopefully attract a crowd. He has a hat that is just for people to put coins in, and he's going to let it
So you're a
out.
traveling, busking spice merchant.
I diversify my income. Thank you.
Love it. Love it.
Yes.
Just down the street from Otley, but as he's singing, there is a tall, thin man who looks similar to yet legally distinct from Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins, who may also be a chimney sweep, with his brushes on his shoulder, and he's doing like he's also busking in the street, and he's also doing his thing, and he's noticing his crowd is dispersing.
I'm gonna start trucking right over to him, like as I'm singing, and we're gonna do a thing. Be a thing.
All right, okay. I'm
Wonderful.
sure there is some sort of check.
I'm not as good a dancer as I am a singer, but I'm a maxed out singer.
Well, hell, did you know there's a singing skill?
Yes, I did because
Shall
I
we-
took all the ranks in it that I could.
Yes.
Yes.
I love it.
Let's have a singing skill check. Let's
I-
go.
I was making my character with Jim, and he was like, I was like, I want a lot in singing, and he's like, really? I'm like, it needs to be max. Is it? Let's keep on clicking. Like, click some
So
more.
that's sagacity, charisma, and constitution for your lung capacity, I guess.
Yeah, is that under craft?
It's
Physical
under
skills.
physical.
skills.
Physical. Okay.
Yeah.
I wish these were alphabetized. Yeah. And I have a +1 exclamation point as well. And I'm not sure what that means. I think it's like I have
I'm not sure.
a special good rank.
That means.
Means he's got the voice of an angel.
He does.
Charlotte Church, who?
Oh, that's a deep cut. I have not thought of her in a long time.
Me neither. I don't know why she was the first person I thought of.
Wait. A +1 is a bad thing, though, right? Because you want to be below your.
Well, I think it means that I have like extra like expertise in it or
Oh,
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
let's go with that.
Yeah. I can look it up for you real quick on
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, please.
I would appreciate it. It's under R. Like there's SR, there's IC, SR, and R.
Yay, we're learning our system, you guys.
Yes.
This is
Certainly.
great. This is great.
Learning.
Learn as we play, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I thought we're artistic in different ways. Two of us are artistic in the world of perfumes, and you're artistic in the world of music. And then we
I
have
am.
the food enthusiast who's like, I like the finer foods, and like I love this.
I
Yes.
love that singing is a skill.
It is.
Okay, so how did we do?
So my skill, I have an 11 in it. So, sagacity, charisma, con. I've got 14. I think I did well.
Yeah. So Sagasti's 14, right? So
Yeah.
we can bring that first one down by 2.
Yes. And then my second one is charisma. I have a 14 there. as
Okay, so you
well.
nailed that one.
And then the last one, con, I only have a 12.
we bring that down by 5. It means you spent 7, so you have 4 remaining.
So 4
which
quality, right?
Is quality 2.
Oh,
So
quality
you you put on a really good performance
Yeah.
of a song called. Oh, damn, I'm not clever enough. I was trying to think
Well,
of male
Emma,
bamboo.
what tone of song do you want, Emma? Do you want like a
Yeah.
saucy song or a happy song?
Exactly.
Or...
Yes.
I want like a super happy. I want like the kind of song that you would sing in a meadow on a high mountain in the middle of this place.
What if it's called The Meadow and the High Mountain?
There you go, the meadow
There
and the
you
high
go.
mountain.
Meadow on the high mountain. And
It's a shepherd
it
thing.
takes this street by storm. There are people stood there and they're living it, right? They're loving it. Like their eyes are wide with wonder. There's children stood there, sweets in their hands, being, oh, who is this strange mustachioed man and his tall chimney sweep friend dancing away on the street? My mind is completely blown. You have influenced the next generation of Havana talent. They will speak of this song for generations. So too, as Ottlieb has wandered off and is apparently putting on a concert in this street, what are you up to?
2 wants nothing to do with the shop. It stinks. He doesn't like the smell of it. He is across the road, enjoying the smell of nature masked as it is by the city and everything else. He is one of his disadvantages is that he is ignorant of imperial culture. So he is just sort of hanging around and observing everything. I'm imagining he's standing somewhere, maybe even leaning against the wall, just watching and sort of taking in the scene, enjoying the song and dance a wee bit, thinking it's a bit strange how they seem to be competing in song, but not at the same time. It's a culturally weird thing, because singing is a very communal thing in his culture. But overall, he's just sitting there sort of taking it in, and he's avoiding the smelly shop. He doesn't understand why you'd want to cover your own smell, why you'd want to make yourself easier to smell to wild animals and all of that in his mind. I don't want a part of that.
That's lovely. Because I'm a city boy and you're like a wilderness traveler, right?
Absolutely. And also like there's a thing called Tiho Maori Ora. It's the breath of life. Like a big part of the culture is about breathing in the Maori. It's the spirit of everything around you. They believe everything is animate. So covering that up, making you smell differently is an affront in a way to that.
Right.
So he's like, these people are strange with their smells and wanting to smell like something else is kind of not au fait. So yeah, he's just chilling.
Love it.
Nice.
There you
I
go.
imagine the smell hits him like a teenage boy's locker room when they've got the Axe body spray, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
You may think you smell fancy, but to him, you're just African. Man.
Yeah.
That's it.
While
It's just Africa, Link's Africa.
in Fazar, it's very important to have like the scents. Like that's part of your fashion. Like you need the oud scent and everything. And so I'm like, yes, perfumes.
Yeah.
All right. So if you can hit me up with a streetwise check too.
Sure.
Which is, I believe, is courage, intellect, and charisma.
So
It says sagacity, intellect, and charisma.
Yep. Sorry, I read the wrong one.
Oh. Intuition and charisma.
Intuition. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
nah.
No, don't go.
Nah.
All right. So you stand kind of casually observing this whole thing, but not paying too much attention. You're just eager to probably get back on the road and just not be here with this stink. But after a little period of time, Garion and Tariq reappear again, and they are heavily perfumed, whether they meant to be or not. Just being in the very vicinity of that shop is just like being hit by a bath bomb from Lush. And Ottlieb, you are just winding up your song. You hit that last note, and it hangs, and there's silence before the whole crowd is just like, woo! And your hat has quite a few coins in it. Actually, you have made a decent earning from this performance.
Excellent.
Nice.
I will give about 60% of it to the chimney sweep.
Oh,
Yes.
he says, Thank you, Governor. I'll see you next time for our next show, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it might be a few days though.
That's all right. I need to work on my routine a little bit. And he sort of trottles off and he does a little heel click because I don't know. And the road is now he's magic.
Love it.
And you are free to head on with your adventure. After a while, as you keep walking, I imagine you're in like the merchant district, right? These are all the shops. There's probably like canopies, brightly colored, strung above you. There's signage everywhere. Some of it decrepit and worn from year-old institutions. Some of it shiny and brand new. And there's all sorts of shouting and smells and cheering coming from around. You know, you're walking down the street and someone's like, "Pony of strawberries, couple of copper pieces," you know, like they're hiring out their goods, selling fish. But before long, everything starts to thin out a little as you head out of the city and into the more sort of rural countryside districts, and the beautiful cobbled streets start to turn into more mud tracks that have been worn.
So this is not like a walled city with guards at the gates.
There's some, but it's kind of because it's built on like a swampland. Some of the land just isn't feasible for there to be walls on.
Okay.
So there's some, they're more like towers, you know,
Okay,
like defensive
nice.
towers where they
Nice.
could get a good view on the sturdy bits of the land.
Nice.
But you head out through one of the unofficial gates, northeast, I believe, to
Nice.
where this place is.
Okay. All right.
It is a clear, bright day. The sun is shining in the sky. There ain't a cloud in sight. It's
I'm in a
not
very
raining.
good mood.
See, told you guys.
Yeah, I had a good night last night with lots of flexi fingers. I just bought some perfume with my new friend Garayan. Excellent mood.
Very good. Auspicious journeys.
So I
Till there's
am
upwind from
typically
both of
someone.
them.
Oh. That's valid. That's valid. So as a GM, I freaking hate travel. Travel is one of the most boring bits unless nothing happens in it. Unless you guys want to talk amongst yourselves for a little bit, have a scene where you're discussing things. I usually just like to teleport you to places because the walking is boring.
Sure.
Yeah. I
Teleport.
don't know that there's any
Fast
anything
travel.
I mean, especially through like this is just like swampland, right? There's no grand scenery to see. But you know, you're walking for quite some time. This is you know, she traveled for like 2 to 3 days.
Oh yeah, she said she was running. She just ran and booked it for a couple of days.
and then stole a horse, but she asked not to mention the horse again.
Well, maybe en route. I would ask. So, what's our plan? Like, are we going to? I could break into the fortress of the goblins' intellect and try and see what they're trying, because I'd rather not just attack them on sight.
Sure. I mean, is that wise though? We don't know what's in their mind.
Oh, then I'll find out.
Imagine it's gross.
That's all you, Tariq.
It seems like it would be really gross. I mean, I
Oh, it'll
don't
be
know.
exciting. I've never met a goblin before. Imagine the new sensations in their mind. Ooh.
I don't know that I feel the same way, but you know, if it helps us figure out what they were doing, I don't object.
Maybe we can convince them to not raid that village anymore and give the people. I can be very persuasive sometimes.
It's worth a shot. I mean, I would assume they're not even around there anymore. We might have to track them down.
Ooh, two, you're good at tracking, aren't you?
2 Texas character sheet.
Let me see if I'm good at tracking.
No, Garayan is not.
I love that Tarek has this idea that he's very persuasive because he's persuasive. It's actually because a lot of humans are just terrified. They're just like, you're a black mage. Like I have 0 in persuasion, my skills. That was the starting
quite good at 2 is quite good at tracking.
Yeah, like I'm sure 2 can track that cow.
Oh yeah, Bessie is really the top priority here. I mean, am I wrong?
I got that impression as well. That,
Yes.
That Bessie is.
2 is a bit nihilistic about the whole thing. In his mind, we're going to recover the dead, and he's saying this. We're just going to go secure the dead for the girl. If there's cow, there's cow. If there's living, there's living. Reality. if there's anything left for the goblins to come back for, maybe we look for them. I don't know.
No,
Two's probably right.
Yeah.
These things don't usually end well.
Mm.
But she needed peace of mind, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see what they find. We'll see what we find.
I must accept the cultural practices they have with mourning. So if that's the way to do it, yeah.
Certainly. Is it swamp all the way there?
Pretty much. This is swampy territory. It is gross. If
It's
you
just all
if
muggy and sweaty.
Yeah, I put more of that perfume on me.
It's that horrible, just in really intense, muggy heat where you just want to die.
Once every 6 to 8 hours, Ortlieb will distribute fresh socks to everybody because he has those.
Oh,
Nice.
And I put perfume on the socks.
Just
That's acceptable in
So
this case.
is amassing a gathering of socks because he doesn't wear any.
Yes.
hey, you never know when you're gonna need a sock.
I mean, they have other uses. Like they'll be puppets tonight. Like
Mhm.
you'll
You can
have a
fill
good
them with
time.
rocks and swing them
Mhm.
around. You
Yep.
can fill them
That's
with
it.
presents.
That's
Mhm.
it. That's it.
fruit
It
in
might be a
them.
pillow. You put a sack full of socks, use it as a pillow.
Yep.
You could dry some meat from a beloved cow that
It
met
makes-
its demise before you got there.
Yeah.
Yes.
It can make a rudimentary form of underwear.
There's all kinds of things.
Fill it
All
up with
sorts of
fresh
things.
fruit and take to any party members that get out of line.
Mhm.
There you go.
I love that.
Yes.
As we're walking there, our conversation shifts from everyone might be dead. Let's talk about socks now.
Socks.
Love it.
They
That's a
didn't cover
vibe.
this in the Fellowship of the Ring, did they? Okay, so you're traveling for a couple of days. I imagine you have some lovely, like, little campside moments where you can see the sky and it's lovely and clear, beautiful, bright stars.
Nice.
Maybe
Maybe Ortlieb sings for us a night or two
Sing a song for us.
because Ortlieb
Sure.
is so good at singing. Yeah.
Yeah, Ortlieb sings. He sings his traveling songs. that he
Nice.
has.
I want another singing check. Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah, let's get another one.
Yes.
All right, let's do this. It's gonna happen.
And you're a
Alright.
merchant, so you've traveled a decent amount, right?
I do. I'm a traveling merchant.
Yeah. So you can sing like cool songs
yes.
from different places.
It's true. I'm a traveling merchant, which is different than a long distance merchant.
Oh.
Yeah. So I go from here to there, and then I adventure when I'm sick of customer service.
Nice. Very good.
I could adventure.
Hey, that's really low.
Nice.
I think
Oh,
I
I
did really
see.
well.
I think you did very well. Hot damn. Okay, so that means you didn't need to spend any of your points, right?
No.
And you have
had
11
11.
points.
So you thought you had delivered the performance of a lifetime with what was the song name from the valley and
The meadow in the
by the
high
meadow
High
and the
mountain.
Yes.
This one is so beautiful that even little critters from the swamp come up to listen.
It's about the different uses of socks.
Yeah, it's a clothing related song.
It's an aria about socks.
Oh,
Cool. Can
and
it have
it's
like
almost-
a layered meaning? Like the surface level is about socks, but like underneath it's about like the joy of life or something. With the
Friendship,
socks as a
you know?
metaphor.
Yes, it has a complex underlying narrative about class structure and struggle.
because of course it does.
Because of course it does.
Lower classes
Yes.
don't often get lots of
Yes.
types of socks.
It's true. Well, it's actually because it's Ortlieb, and he does have one of his disadvantages is that he does hold the principles of capitalism,
Oh,
and so it is
Mm.
about how we can all
Well,
if we
sock
try really
alone,
hard,
you know,
We can earn our socks.
rise above. Yeah, have
Socks.
as many socks as you want.
Sure.
Give them to your friends.
Sure.
Yeah.
a sock alone cannot achieve anything. We need to be paired. You know, like there's
Lol.
deep verses in here, and nature itself is singing along with you, Ortlieb. There's a chorus of bullfrogs that give the wah wah wah. You know, on some verses, it's just, if you had been in the city, they would have given you the key to the city. Basically, that's how good it was. And
But under the starry sky, the three of your companions enjoy this like
Yeah.
beautiful
with a
art you
beautiful
create.
fire. Yeah, it's
Great.
everything you could ask for before it all inevitably goes to shit. But you wake up the next day feeling energized, revitalized by this performance. And it's not long traveling before you see the shells of these houses. There are simple wooden buildings, but you can see like the big burnt bits sticking up in the air. I know a lot of architectural terms, as you can clearly tell. Big bits of buildings that have been clearly burnt, just sticking up. Just a couple of houses, more than anything. You can barely call it a village. There's a well in the middle, a couple of houses, paddocks. No sign of the cow. In fact, no sign of anyone at all. It appears to be eerily quiet here.
I have something to do, but I've been talking a lot, so.
Go around and look at just get a feel for the place. Look around. Are there any obvious signs of like disturbance or is it just like, what's it like?
So as you sort of approach and you start digging around the ruins, you can see there clearly had been some conflict here. In fact, you can see like some body parts just kind of lying around in the mud where they've been cleaved off. And things like carts have been turned over and like the single wheel just like,
Oh, can I ask a quick question, Susie?
Yes.
This is a rules question. How many AE would I have recovered overnight?
Oh, geez. I do not know actually the rule for AE recovery.
I don't know. I looked it up at one
It's
point.
normally 1d6. If I remember
Every
right.
day?
6.
Yeah.
All right,
1d6
roll
for
me.
6 hours rest, I believe. I could be wrong, but that seems to be the normal in the game.
Okay, so I'm gonna, and I have a talent which gives me bonus. So I'm just gonna do /R 1d6 plus 1. Oh, lovely! I get 2 points back.
Woo.
Because we had one night's sleep, and I mean, I don't know if you want to count that as 2 6-hour slots because we've been traveling. Oh no, it's been a couple of days though.
Yeah, a couple of days.
Oh, so I'm
we
probably
only
full
really
up.
focused on one.
Right.
Sort
So
of
I'm gonna say I'm full up.
moment.
Okay. If other people are done, I would like to do a spell. So, but only when other people are done with their stuff.
Okay, so Garion is looking around the ruins. You can clearly see there has been some sign of battle here. But you can also see what appears to be like a ruddy, like red, browny ear, just like in the dirt, with like a patch of dark black blood around it.
Is
So
it a
clearly-
human or a goblin
It
ear?
is definitely not human looking at it. It looks, from the book, it looks goblin-y. Because it's kind of got like a little point to it too. Like it's got a little 2-pointy ear like going on.
Is that the only goblin body part that we find?
It is the only goblin body part you have found
Goblin's
so far.
ear.
A
All right.
goblin's ear, yeah.
I'm going
And
to
it has an
pick it up.
earring in it.
Ooh, I'm gonna pick it up with some linen and carefully wrap it up, and just like tuck it in a pocket because that seems useful to somebody.
I'm gonna stick my staff in the ground and then open my eyes wide and they go like black again, but this time my staff also suddenly goes jet black as I am casting Odem Arcanum to try and detect magic in the area.
Okay, so I believe that is a skill check to perform that spell.
So it's sagacity, int, and int. That's 15, 12, 12. And so I'm going to roll 3d20. So I get it. Oh, I succeed. And so I have a lot of points in that. Let me see. I have I have 4 points in Odem Arcanum.
Okay, so that is a quality level of 2.
Yeah, I can tell, is there magic present? And the maximum quality you can achieve with magical analysis check rises by 1.
Huh, okay. So you slam your staff into the ground, you focus, your eyes go black, the staff goes black. There's almost a chill that emanates from you as you cast this spell. It's the
Yeah.
anime bullshit. Wind comes up, your
Yeah,
hair
it's remember
flutters.
it's a black tradition spell, so it's like feels not it's not a pleasant. None of my magic feels pleasant to anyone else.
It feels horrible to be around. You get a chill running down your spine. Anyone who's stood near Tariq as he does this looks rad. But you cannot detect any magic in
Okay.
the local area.
So I my eyes clear and like the temperature warms up again, and I say, "Well, I didn't find any magic, so that's a good sign."
While everyone else is inside the village or doing the magic stuff, 2 is going to be going around the village,
Mhm.
looking for obvious ingress and egress of a large group,
Yeah,
Cool.
that's a good
which
idea.
is a war party.
That's a good idea.
Let's have a look for a check for that then. Tracking, I guess? Yeah, that probably makes sense. A tracking check. Which is courage, int, and agility.
Yeah, I smashed that.
Nice.
That is 3 quality levels.
Ooh, all right. Okay. So while they're doing whatever they're doing in the town, you think, hang on, let's have a look around the back, see what's going on. And you can see where the swamp is, it starts to lead into sort of like those the tree groves that grow in swamps, you know? And
Okay.
further back. And you can clearly see too, as you're looking and paying extreme attention to the ground, there are cow hooves accompanied by other scuffles, and it appears
Nice.
as though there was also something being dragged, something
Nice.
quite large.
Okay, all right.
Hoof prints.
And did they come in and out the same way?
Basically, yeah, it appears like they came from this grove, smashed, and went back in.
And there's basically not much left of the village. It's mainly been burnt.
Yeah, they did a real number on it.
Okay.
And
That's sad.
you can, as you go around, you find a couple of bodies that are like under, rubble.
But the amount of bodies, does it add up to have as many? Okay, so looking at the village, it would look like it holds X amount of people, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
some families. Do the bodies line up with how many people would live here, or is it
Nope.
much less?
Much less.
All right.
All right. Year 2 would basically call the others over and point this out. They took prisoners.
Oh, are those cow hoofs? And I point at the.
Hi. They are.
So things might still be alive. We can get Bessie. We can get Bessie back to Gemma.
Let's do it.
Well done, 2.
Yeah, this reminds me of Village. You know what? Never mind.
I once passed through a village that ended up burnt after I left, but that's because they attacked us. I destroyed the village.
Well, seems like an appropriate response to burn the whole thing. To burn the whole thing down.
No, the whole village tried to. They said, "You're black mages. We will kill you." And I'm like, "I'm not going to do anything to you." And they said no, and then they attacked us, and so I mind controlled them to kill each other.
That's
Recently?
terrifying.
Oh, it was like a year ago. My master was there with me. I can't just mind control anyone randomly.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Well, warn me that when you're going to do that the next time.
Okay, you're my friend, Gariah, and I like clap you on the shoulder again.
Thank you. I'm glad to be your friend. Glad to be your friend.
So after that,
Let's
quite
go. Let's
frankly,
track 'em down.
horrific discussion, you head further into the grove, and the water here seems to grow deeper as you find yourselves among the roots of these trees. And it seems a very strange place to have done a raid from. But as you sort of dig a bit further in, you come to a hillside, and for some bizarre reason, there's a cave here, because Susie doesn't know how geography works, and goblins live in caves, so we're just going to have to deal with it.
Love it.
And you can quite clearly see that this cave, there are signs of activity around it.
Mhm.
And you can see like a little fire in the front, and in fact you see 2 small like hunched over figures that are wearing like strips of leather and stuff, and they're like jabbing at something over the fire, and you can just in the wind hear they're like as they're sort of talking to each other as they're cooking something.
So, what's our strategy, you guys? Are we gonna walk? Are we gonna try and talk to them? I can appear as a terrifying nightmare beast and scare them. We
Yeah.
can sneak up. I can make fog for us to sneak up. Are we just attacking them? You know.
I mean, I think once we see it, we should back up a bit to get a bit of distance, so we don't, talk too loudly and draw attention. But yeah, I'm curious about that too. I mean, Brian thinks we should just attack them without warning at all. Like, they're goblins. They came and took these people, took their cows, and burned down their village.
Yeah, they did a bad thing. They burned down the village without provocation. They weren't threatened as black mages like we were.
Sure, certainly. But in terms of what Jim had asked us to do, she didn't want us to retaliate. She just wanted us to find her family and her cow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it if there's cooking something and there's wind and stuff? What does it smell like?
Oh, does it smell like human? Yeah, does it smell like human?
Yeah, what kind of meat? Is it the rarest meat? The only meat that Ortlieb will not eat?
The most dangerous game.
Yes.
Ortlieb, I'm not going to make you roll for this because you first. But there is something about this meat which is not like a meat that you would ever want to eat. It smells distinctly human to you.
So they ate part of the family at least.
In fact, as you focus on what they're cooking on the fire, you can clearly see like a human arm on a spit just like roll.
Yeah.
Well,
So I think we have.
It's not Bessie.
Yeah, true. So I think we have reason enough to attack them without feeling bad about it. They clearly killed this village, burnt all of them, and then are cooking them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, certainly. That's what I think.
Yes.
So how do we want to do this?
I can make us emerge from the fog if people want.
That sounds cool.
2 of them outside. There's probably more inside. If we could deal with the 2 outside without them running in and getting their buddies, that'd be best.
Well,
I can make them fall asleep.
There's a plan.
That's a plan. Yeah. Alternatively, 2 is next level fucking sneaky. It's like the thing he's best at. So 2 could always sneak up and put himself between the goblins and their cave. So when you guys come out, they're coming into 2 just ready to unleash hell.
Yeah. I think I like
Can
that,
we?
yeah.
I would love, and this isn't a party thing. Do we have like a de facto like team leader who says this is the decision we're gonna take? Would we have done that? Like, who's experienced at actual like fighting and adventuring? I'm guessing 2 and Garayan more than Ortlieb and Tariq.
Yeah, Garayan is pretty skilled in warfare, and I chose the specialty partisan tactics, so like irregular warfare,
Like guerrilla warfare. and
insurgency, guerrilla warfare, things like that.
stuff? Nice.
So he's probably committed a couple of village burnings
Yeah.
himself.
So I'm gonna say
Point,
Tariq, the last few adventure things we've had looks to Garayan for like instruction, because
Sure.
Tariq can do fighting, but he's a mage. He's not a
Yeah.
fighter. So
Yeah. But this plan of 2 sneaking forward so that there's someone there they might not know about. I like that plan. Otherwise, I think that my instinct is to take out the 2 of them and then smoke them out. Just like get as much of this wet firewood or just whatever as we can. And
if we take out the 2, like if I sleep them and then 2 kills them, I could technically cast fog into the cave.
Oh, hold on. See,
we got-
2, that's a great idea. And another thing that 2 can do is he's next level intimidating. That's one of his big things. And he actually does, he has a special ability where or specialization, I should say, where he basically does a haka and tells them in his tongue, I'm going to come in there, I'm going to fucking eat you.
Nice.
So, if we fill it up with smoke and then do that, they'll either get fortified and it's going to be harder for us, or they could completely drop nuts and come outside and then we just taken.
There's only 4 of us, and there might be a lot more of them. So I think like keeping the element of like surprise and unknown as much as possible. Like if they think there's a bunch of us because 2 is out there, sort of calling them out and challenging them, and there's fog, they can't quite see anything.
Yeah.
We might have the advantage against them.
Yeah,
Or
they might
lead.
just they might clam up and just start hiding, and then we just go through and unleash nightmares upon them. Basically,
like literally, I have a nightmare spell. Or lead. Any input?
I am defaulting to you. I am quite talented with communicating with people who I don't wish to kill.
All right. Okay.
Otherwise, I fight with this and this. This is what I do.
Love it. Love it.
Yes.
Okay. So how are we starting, Garayan?
So it sounds like 2 is going to sneak up, and then sleep spell. Yeah.
Yep. I'm done with that.
All right. Once those 2 are taken care of, that's when we hit them with the fog, smoke. We can worry about who knows, we might not even get that far. I think first things first is to get 2 up there and then take out the 2 sentries to watch the 2 guards.
Okay.
If we watch them for a bit, like if we just watch them for a little bit, does anyone else come and go? Are there other goblins around that we haven't maybe seen yet?
You can see as you sort of chill and watch them for a bit, there is 1 or 2 others that come up and just kind of like do a check-in with them, ask them if they've seen anything. Like bring them a drink. One of them brings the other a blanket, tucks it around his little knees as he's cooking this human arm. But yeah, you can quite clearly tell from watching there are other goblins in this cave.
Okay.
But you can't quite gauge the number.
Gotcha. Mostly I wanted to know if there was like one that comes out regularly or something like that, or if there was some like patrolling around the cave. And also there's totally caves near swamps. Like don't even sweat it. Okay. So a little bit of observation. I think take them out, sneak up there, take them out, and then
this is going to be a weird question.
I'm ready.
Is the goblin that's coming out of the cave wet? The reason I ask, okay, a bit of logic here. If you're in a swamp, there's a really high water table. That's the reason why everything's wet.
Yeah.
So the question I'm asking is, does the cave go uphill or level, or does it go downhill? Because if it goes uphill, smoking is going to be more effective. If it goes down, not so much.
Yeah. That's a good call.
From what you see watching this goblin, it doesn't appear to be wet. So it's dry within this cave.
And I can shape the fog to a certain degree. So I want to see in the caves. I can't shape it very much, but I can shape it a little bit. So
can you make shapes in it?
Yes, I can literally make it look like a dragon. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Like that's an example in the spell text. You can make it look like a dragon.
Okay. Cool.
And because I'm a mind mage, I have a vivid imagination.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I read trashy gay romance novels a lot, so I have a very vivid
dragons
imagination.
With bendy limbs,
right?
Flexible fingers.
Sensuous dragons.
I have decided right now that one of my vices is I read a lot of trashy gay romance novels, and they're hard to find and they're expensive because books are expensive. So,
well, I can't wait for Chuck Tingle to make a book out of this adventure. So, 2, what does your stealth look like? And hit me up with that check as you make your way up to get these goblins.
He would just be very he'd be hunched over quite low to the ground and moving, sort of trying to be as one with nature. Like it's not darting from cover to cover, it's just very purposeful sort of movement through the terrain, moving in time with, like, if the wind gusts he speeds up because that creates more noise, and if the wind drops he slows right down, and the whole time he's got his in front of the cave. Is it closed in? Is it going to be open terrain like where these guys are?
Yeah, it's kind of open-ish terrain. There is, like, where the cave is like a little natural wall which they're using to like shelter with, like a tiny little overhang. But there
there's
like
use as staff though.
There's like tactical bushes you can deploy.
Tactical bushes.
If there's room from to swing his staff around, then
Oh, yeah,
he'll
for
have
sure.
that ready. Cool. So he'll be moving with that just in one hand, while he sort of, uses the other hand to push terrain and stuff out the way as he goes to sneak up. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's that's three quality levels.
3 quality.
Mm.
Woo. Okay, I'm just gonna roll a check for our dear goblins because they are kind of on lookout.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Turns out, not great. Okay, so
They're too busy eating their favorite meal.
yeah, one of them's like dozing off because he's got a full little belly of people, and he's got his
Meat
blanket.
sweats.
He's got meat sweats, blanket, and the other one's kind of just poking at the fire and warming up his little goblin hands. But as you get closer, you can hear their like idle chatter too, as they're like, "Can't wait for Blake to eat that cow. Gonna be a good dinner."
We must get the
Mhm.
cow. What language are they speaking, Susie, if you know?
They are speaking goblin language,
Great.
I think.
Which two can conveniently speak.
Or maybe two, the
Hey,
common,
nice.
the common things which are like excited to eat. Maybe they say that a lot, right?
Where is the languages on
Yeah.
here?
And cow.
Well, just anyway, they're just yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
you
it could
know
be
it's-
if two is familiar with goblins, it could be that the phrase "I'm excited to eat" is like a one-word thing.
Well,
right?
goblins
So-
don't have a huge vocabulary, right?
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
goblins, so I imagine there's a couple of anchor phrases that you can pretty much get the gist of.
Yeah, love it.
So they appear to have not detected you at all too, as you've moved with nature. There's been like breeze that's come through and you've managed to like get up there, rustling these convenient tactical bushes nearby. What would you like to do? Are you just gonna hold and wait, or?
Yeah, my understanding of the plan, correct me if I was wrong, was that I was to get here and then something was going to happen. And if they try and flee inwards, I am the wall of tattoos, flesh, and anger.
Love it. So are we doing fog or sleep, Girion?
Let's do sleep first.
Okay.
Because I don't have a
So-
ranged weapon.
Love it. So this is cool because sleep and fog, actually both these are non-Fazar mage spells. So these are the spells that I have from other traditions that I've learned. So it's actually very different casting them. It's not my black eye thing. It's an elvish druid spell, which means it's very like nature. So you can see I'm a little nervous about this compared to when I do my other spells where I'm like very confident. So I'm like rolling up my sleeves and I'm like, and I'm like, oh right, pluck some random leaf from the tree. What? I whisper stuff. Normally I don't speak when I do my spells, but this one I'm like chanting slightly because elvish spells are all about singing and things. And I'm a half-elf, by the way. So I'm like, and we'll see if it works. It's one of my weakest spells. Okay, so /R 3d20. Okay. Ooh. So let's see if I can reduce that 19. I have 4 points, and I cannot reduce that 19 to a 14 with those 4 points. So I do not succeed in the spell. What does that mean?
Okay, so two.
And I spend what, half the spell points if it fails, right?
I think so.
I
Hang on,
think
let me double
so.
check.
Yeah.
So, two, you're crouched there, you've got your staff ready, and you're ready to bring the pain to these goblins, and you're just waiting for them to fall asleep. And you're there any minute now. Any. And then very much not asleep.
And because he can't see me, the others can see me getting flustered and like singing at this leaf. I'm like, but because 2 has moved forward, he cannot see me flustering with my
Did
spell.
we agree on how long I would wait? Because 2's got an internal clock. He's always right. So
Oh, nice.
if we know that it's like 15 minutes, he'd get to 15 minutes, be like, fuck it, donk.
Or something like that, yeah. Because we give you some time to get there and then get us set up. And after a certain point, then yeah, either
Okay.
we've failed or something has happened.
Also,
So-
Grant is a wizard with these rules. Just
I know,
saying.
Mhm. So before 2 brings the pain train to these goblins, Ortlieb and Garion, you are watching Tariq, and it's like Enya having a panic attack as he's trying to cast this spell. Is there anything that you would like to do while this is happening? You can clearly tell there's something wrong as
Sure.
Tariq is really going for it, but nothing seems to be happening.
Yeah,
As-
I'd go ahead, Ortlieb.
Ortlieb, as he sees that this is happening, he's just going to look very, very serious, and he's going to very carefully get out a very large white apron, and he's going to get out some brass knuckles and be like, I was hoping I wouldn't need to, but it looks like I'm going to need to.
Nice, very good.
Yes.
I love he wear the apron to get the blood
Right.
stains.
to keep
Keep
the
it
blood stains
clean.
off your clothes.
Keep it clean.
Actually, Garion's gonna try to sneak up there as well. Once it's clear that the spell's not gonna work, now he's not gonna go as far as to, and he's kind of trying, not like this is a cover for if it fails, to cause some noise so that they would be looking at him and not in 2's direction. But if he can be quiet, he's gonna try. I'm probably not as good at stealth.
Well, let's have a go.
Yeah, here we go. So we've got like a 5, skill rank 5. Here we go. Oh, hey, so what are those? That's an 8, 10, and 12. We're looking at, where am I? It's courage, tuition, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, that is in fact, that is with a 2 quality level.
2 quality level. Okay.
Yeah, because I rolled underneath all of them.
So I would say with the 2 quality level, not only are you able to like quietly move away from 2's position, but you're able to get into a position where you're making sort of like a semi-plausible natural sound, but it's just a little bit weird enough that the goblin that isn't asleep currently with the hands rested on a full belly is kind of like, eh?
Yeah.
And like, what's that? Like looking away from you too. So I would say at this point, this goblin that is looking at the sound probably has their back to you too and is looking away.
Okay.
So you've got
Sweet.
like prime.
Jump out, mollywop him right in the back of the head. That's the plan.
Nice.
Sweet. Okay, so this is going to be our first combat roll then.
Nice.
So this is a attack. So you need to roll a d20 to see if you're successful with the attack. It must be equal to or less than your hero stat in attack.
Okay, so I'm rolling against, because I'm using a pole arm, the particular one that I'm rolling with is against agility, I believe.
Okay.
So that works for me. That's a single die, yeah?
Yep, just one d20.
4, smashed it. I need to get under 14, so.
Oh, okay. And as I would say, this goblin is distracted. They don't have a chance to parry or defend because they're not expecting you. So you're just going to crack them, which means you need to damage. Where's damage? You need to roll your damage value. So I think it's usually 1d6 plus a modifier.
Yep, I got a 6, that makes it 8.
8. So let me find out what this goblin's protection is, which is 0. You do 8 damage to this goblin. Where is his life points? Okay. Where's my... All right. So you crack this goblin over the back of the head, and you hear what you assume to be "Ow, you motherfucker" in goblin as you crack it real good. And I would like, from this point, everybody to roll some initiative as we are in combat.
Okay, and how do we do that?
Initiative is
it a physical
1d6
skill?
plus your initiative modifier.
Okay.
I need to find a pen.
Initiative. I see. 13. Okay.
So let me roll for... Oh, good job, Susie. That's a great roll. Nailed it.
Mine's a 19. Bonus turn. Oh no, I can spend fate point. I bought all of those fate. Let me
Oh, you
Good.
upped your fate with
Yeah,
character
not
creation?
fate points, but like that lets me spend them on more things.
Oh, what can we normally spend them on, Jim?
Let's see. Normally you start with 3 and spend 1 fate point a check. Actually, I wrote down everything you could do, so I'm not not sure which one is the actual base. Yeah,
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, so this one. Okay, so Garion, what was your initiative?
19.
19. Tariq?
17.
17. 2.
21.
Ooh. And Otlib?
13.
13. Okay, so we're gonna have 2 up first, and then it's gonna be Garion, and then it's gonna be Tariq, and then it's gonna be Gerblin 1, and then Gerblin 2, and then Otlib. Okay, so I would class that as like a surprise round with your clunk. So
Mhm.
back at the top of the round 2, this goblin is clutching the back of his head and has spun round to you, and you can see now that he's got like a bit of flesh hanging from his mouth, and you can tell it's people's flesh because there's a tattoo on it, and it's like giving you the mean mug, the ah.
All right. Okay. Well, we go. Give him a whack. Or not. No, I'm not. Swing at him and miss.
Okay, so that was an unsuccessful swing. That's cool. That's fine. You do have, I believe, in combat, free actions. You can shout a short sentence, turn around, you can move, drop to the ground, drop an item.
No, I'm just basically, I'm here sort of swinging at him, still being relatively quiet until the others turn up.
Mm-hmm.
So just sort of, just making combat noises, man.
All right, yeah, hell yeah. No, I love it. All right, Garion.
So
Making combat noises. It's really funny.
I have a bunch of combat related stuff that I now cannot remember what it does. That's all right. We'll worry about it in a minute. So I have his sword out, sword and shield. He's going to come out from his hiding spot. Is the one that's asleep still asleep?
He is, because rounds are like 5 seconds-ish, similar to other role-playing games, he's starting to rouse, but he hasn't woken up fully yet. He's not a full participant of this battle yet.
Gotcha. Hopefully that means I can hurt him extra well. And he's going to attack the one that's waking up,
Cool.
so that at the very least, we're maybe not having to deal with 2 of them.
Right.
All right, so I'm going to roll against strength here. It's a 15. Ooh, right there, 14. And so I guess that's a hit.
Yep.
And then it's D6 4, so that's 8 damage for that.
8, okay.
And I don't think there's anything else. I have a bunch of like exceptional combat techniques, sword, and I think that's all relates to like rolling and hitting. I don't think any of it relates to damage.
So what does this attack look like? Are you coming in with like a slash or like a stab, or like what's Garion's battle stance like?
So he's going to reveal himself, jump out from hiding. He's a light infantryman. That is his specialization. So he doesn't wear a lot of plate and things like that. Pretty swift, and he's going to come in. And the idea is to stab this goblin, run him through as best as he's able, and just take him out in one strike if he can.
Cool. So I imagine he like comes down with like a cleave then, just to try and just like.
He's going running low and then popping up right at the last minute to get this guy.
It's cool. You use your momentum. You get some. You come down. You land a blow on this goblin, and you pull, and there's a slick of black blood that flies off your blade. And the goblin that was slowly being like, "What's that?" is now like, "Ah!" as it looks down at his chest. As you, not familiar with the goblin's anatomy, aimed a little low, and you just cut across his chest, and the goblin mentally thinks, if I survive this, chicks are gonna dig this. But he's dealing with bigger issues as it is now Tariq's turn.
Tariq is always a bigger issue. So Tariq is going to unleash his first spell he ever cast, which is what got his because his first spell he ever cast was Horophobos, where he turned into the embodiment of someone's fear. And it was, in this case, it was some like annoying little girl in the village. They were both kids, right? So he turned into the terrifying aspect of her fear by accident. So it's his most practiced spell. So he's gonna cast this. It's courage, intuition, and charisma. So that's 14, 12, 14. So let's do that. 3d20. 8, 5, 11, and I hit it a lot, and I have 6 points. So how many quality levels is that?
6 is quality level 2, but it's right on the border. You're so close.
So the other person, not the one that's being attacked, gets 1 level of fear for 6 minutes.
Oh.
So you all again see it's a subtle spell because it's a mind affecting spell. So my eyes again go black. I'm standing there. None of you see me do anything. But to him, to the goblin, my exceptionally handsome face transforms into this like nightmare, like horrifying thing, and I'm going at him. So he takes 1 level of what did I say?
Fear.
1 level of fear. Yes.
To this goblin, you are the most fearsome thing he could ever think of. This you have turned into the nightmarish visage of his mother with a scrubbing brush.
Yes.
A bar of soap.
Like my staff is the scrubbing brush, and I actually have a bar of soap, right? So
it's perfect. And as you're like squaring up to this goblin and you just swung, you hear him muttering, that's like, no, not again. It is now his turn, and he is going to focus on you though too, as you are right in front of him, and you are the beyond his mother that he can see in the woods back there. You're one of the scariest motherfuckers he's ever seen, and you did just hit him and try and hit him again, so he's not going to have that, and he's going to attempt to hit you. So let's see.
So what does fear do, just as a thing?
Fear is a -1 to all tests.
Nice.
And he is so shaken with fear that he has pulled this knife from his belt too, but he is literally shaking. And as he comes to stab you, it's like he just pokes you instead. He can't will his muscles. It's like you have a bad dream and you can't will your muscles to do things properly.
Have you washed behind your ears yet?
As he limply stabs towards 2 and misses. Goblin 2, who was having a nice dream, wakes up to being slashed across the chest and looks at Garion, and he reaches beside him for a spear that he has, and he's going to spin and try and stab you with it, Garion. So let's see.
All right.
I think with the 7 he's going to do it, but
7,
you have a chance to dodge or parry that.
So I've got pretty good with shields, and I've got a decent dodge, I think. Let's see. So I've got. Am I allowed to use my shield for this, or is that?
I would say so, right? It makes sense to use your shield for this.
Yeah, he's gonna. I mean, he's gonna attempt to parry it. Then I mean, his dodge is pretty. His dodge, but he's gonna attempt to parry it, assuming that his shield is going to come into play. But I can't make heads or tails. Oh, okay, never mind. Here it is. Shield or parrying weapon. It's got a strength 20, a BPR. I'm sure what that is, of 10. And then attack and parry mod. So I get a +1 to my parry. Looks like.
Oh, nice. That's nice.
All right. So, okay, here it is. So I have to roll that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That is good. My skill at that is 16.
Oh, cool. A success. Okay. If an opponent succeeds... Dang. Okay. So I assume if you manage to successfully parry it, you don't take anything, right? You just think the attack's gone. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Doesn't clarify that there, but that's cool. That's what we'll go with.
Okay,
So the spear comes up, and Garion, you are like, oh shit, spear, shield up, and you feel that impact. And it's a simple wooden spear, but it's been fire hardened at the top, so it does like tunk as you feel that impact. And the whole time, these goblins are just like swaying mad shit. They're like swearing at you, calling it all sorts of names. Just imagine them, just the horrible chatter as they're doing it. But that will bring us to Ortlieb.
Tall are these goblins? Are they like really little bitty?
Between 4'8" and 5'4".
Okay, so those are bigger. Okay, so that's punchable. That's punch in size.
Yes.
So Ortlieb is going to walk. Imagine he's sort of like downhill a little bit. He's going to walk up to them. He has a look on his face of just pure utter like almost nonchalance, like he's Javier Bardem and in that movie where he's a fucking creepy guy who's totally fine with killing things. The hair, yes, that way No Country for Old Men. He's
That's
just gonna
the
do
one.
it.
Nice.
There you go.
We're
And
very
this-
scary people, you guys.
He's made up his mind that this needs to happen, and so it's going to happen, and all he is doing is executing it. And
Executing.
yes, exactly. And so he is going to go up to it, and he has brass knuckles on, and he is going to attempt to just punch the shit out of one in the head. That's what he's
Oh
attempting.
yes. Which one are you going for? Are you going for the one that's on Garion or the one that's on 2?
The one that is on 2, because I like 2. I've been showing 2
And he's
around.
the frightened one, so he's easier
Yes.
to hit, I think.
Yes. But yes, I'm going to be I like 2. I like showing him around. So I'm going to be even though he doesn't need the help, I'm going to help him.
Square up with your knuckle dusters.
Yep.
Let's have a go. Let's do it.
Okay, so you're gonna have to help walk me through this.
All right.
Bit.
So it's 1d20.
I know that part. Rolled a 2.
Oh, I don't even think at this point, even with your mod, like that's yeah, you good.
Yes.
He's gonna do it.
Yes.
So he is gonna try and dodge you as you
Okay.
come in at him with this tiny fist of rage.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause nope. I don't know why. I just imagine Ortlieb as a small man.
He is short, but he's like he's built like a brick house
Yes,
kind of guy.
excellent.
Yes.
This goblin does not dodge. In fact, I would say with a roll that bad, he probably dodges into the punch. So, it's 1d6 plus your damage mod. Your DP, I think it's called, right? DP?
Plus my DP. 1d6 for that is just +1 because it is just brass knuckles. So
Not
Yeah.
wrong with brass. I say it's a Yorkshire woman.
Where's the
2.
damage mod? I don't see that.
2. Okay, so you just square up to this goblin that's given 2 some shit, and you're just like, come here, Sonny Jim. Whack with the knuckle dusters, and you just thwack it right across the face. You see a tooth like fly out of its mouth.
Mhm.
As this takes 2. Okay. All right. So that will bring us back to the top of the round then. Which is 2. This goblin in front of you has just got clocked by Ortlieb, who has just suddenly appeared next to you.
Okay, so we've got 2 goblins here, right? They're
Mhm.
both within line of sight and sound. Cool. I'm going to use my special ability, threatening gestures.
Mhm.
So that's basically 2 sort of steps back and assumes a combat stance, and then he rips something called a pukana, which is when his eyes open real wide and he exposes his tongue while sort of making a savage sound. And it's basically indicating to you, I'm going to fucking taste you right here, you know, and I see you, sort of thing. And he basically just goes full savage on it. So what that is I have to do a test on intimidation, and if I succeed, everybody, all the enemies within line of sight or sound of voice, or both actually, sorry, they get -1 to attacks and defenses until the end of the next combat round. So everyone this round will have the bonus, and then next round will get the bonus.
Our
Dang.
trademark is we are scary, it seems like.
Well, my thinking is if one of them gets away, he'll go tell them, don't go out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, I magically scare them, you physically scare them, Ortlieb is just intimidating looking in general. I love this.
So this is where we're going. So I'll see if I can pull this off. Yeah, that's comfortably within. Let me see. Yeah, so I mean, that ends up being 2 quality levels, which is enough to get the two goblins. It's quality level per person. So yeah, I hopefully I assume I scare the shit out of them.
Yeah, I mean, if there's no sort of save or anything they have to do as per the rules of that, it's just a success on your part.
It seems like, yeah, it's based
Cool.
off the rules here. Yeah, it's just an intimidation roll. Spend 1 action and make a
Sweet.
check on intimidation. Quality level +1. People within line of sight and the sound of the character's voice receive a penalty until the end of the next combat round. Yeah.
Sweet. In a move that makes me, Susie, incredibly jealous because I have a pathetically tiny tongue, 2 stands there, eyes wide, tongue exposed, letting these goblins know that he fucking means business. And the echoing around from the cave just emphasizes these sounds. And you see the goblin in front of you, his knees literally shake. And you're sure you can probably hear a little bit of pee come out as this goblin's like, in front of you two. And the other one in front of you, Garion, that had been coming at you with this spear, suddenly seems a bit less brave about it. And you can hear the spear tip just like ding, 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 on your shield, on the metal of the shield. So it's,
Nice. So are the 2 fears cumulative, Susie?
do you know what? I'm gonna say they are.
Great.
This one goblin is so extra scared. That's why he peed himself. So that's 2 minus.
and Ortlieb is very sensitive to smell. So Ortlieb is like, he peed himself.
Oh, goblin piss.
Yes.
Yes.
He idly thinks to himself, would this be worth something to somebody? Perhaps.
Probably. But that's a tale for another time. Garion, it is up to you now. This one little spear tip is like
Oh,
on
this
your
poor
shield.
guy.
What are you gonna do?
He's going to attack the same one there, and just the idea is to like not bash like as an attack, but like push the spear out of the way, get him with the sword there. At this point, he's not being graceful or anything. He just wants this thing to go away. Oh, that is exactly what I needed. 15.
Nice.
And, let's see. This is a +4. 6 damage.
6 damage. Oh, this poor little dude.
It's just getting nickeled and dimed.
I'm gonna say because he's so afraid right now in this moment, he forgets that he can he can never try and not get hit by this. So you just smash this goblin's face. Neither of them are coming out of this as models.
No.
As you just bam, and it staggers back, all blood coming down his face as you clearly broken its nose. Tariq, it is your turn.
So I am advancing on the one that I frightened because I'm focusing on him mentally, and I have my enormous. It's a long staff, and I see that my 2 friends are at him, so I feel safe to go and like try and like advance. Like I know that he's frightened of me, so I'm gonna be more effective. So I'm gonna try and like bring the staff down on his skull.
Nice.
So now question. So that's a D20. Is it plus sagacity? Or because that's my primary attribute? I don't know.
For a spell?
No, I'm just hitting him.
Oh, just for hitting him? No, it would be for the whatever weapon it is that you're using. To hit him with.
Okay. So I'm using pole arms. That's agility. I see. Primary attribute agility.
Yeah,
okay.
there you go.
So I rolled a 6, and my
Nice.
agility is 11. So am I adding or subtracting, or what am I doing? Oh, I have to roll below my agility.
Yes, roll
Right.
below your agility.
Perfect. So I do that, and I roll a d6 plus 2. So yeah, so he's frightened of me. I bring down what he thinks is his mom's scrubbing brush. But it's actually my mage staff, which is imbued magically, and only dragon fire can destroy it or whatever. So slash r d6 plus 2, and I whack him with 7 scrubbing brush damage.
And you hear him, because it's funnier if you can understand what the goblins are saying. As you hit him with this staff, he's like, "No, Mum, no!"
Yeah, I've learned a smattering of goblin for a spell or something, and so I can hear him. And then the word mother is common in many languages, so yeah.
Okay, so it is now this goblin's turn, and struck between
His mom.
mother and a hard place that is too. He's looking like this, and he doesn't know what to do, and he's looking behind him as if he's gonna run. But he is gonna he bolsters and tries to think of the one he's not as afraid of, which is bizarrely you, Tariq. Even though you are his terrifying mother right now.
Yeah.
And that will be a successful hit on you with a dagger.
Do I do anything? So I have a pole arm weapon, and he which is long reach, and he has
That's
a dagger which is short reach. So there's something
So
about
yeah,
that
so
in the
with
rules,
his
right?
free action, then he'll have stepped into your
Okay.
sort of range, so he can get you with the dagger. So he's
Perfect.
moved up into your range. You can
Perfect.
dodge. I would probably say you can't probably parry with your pole arm, so you could roll a dodge attack, right?
Okay, so for dodge, my DO, that's dodge, is 6. So what am
Okay.
I'm rolling a d20?
Rolling d20, you gotta get under 6.
Oh god.
Yep.
I got a 20!
Oh,
That's a crit fail, right? That's a fumble.
Yeah, that's a bad thing. That you don't
Can I
want to do.
use a hero point or something? Or fate point?
You could use a fate point to re-roll that if you wish.
Yeah, because it's a critical. I wouldn't have if it was just a regular fail, but it's a critical, and I don't wanna give up my momness. So I like being mommy. Oh, and I hit exactly my dodge.
All right. So, you hear him muttering something about shampoo as he comes at you with the knife, and you just deftly dodge out of the way as he's coming straight for your stomach to try and open you up like a deer or something.
Yeah.
But you just get those
Yeah.
beautiful abs of yours out of the way. So they are.
Thanks. Can we say I get out of the way, but in his mind, it hits the bar of soap.
Oh, okay. And you just hear him whimper. He's having the worst time. This goblin it's so sad. Goblin 2, however, is feeling himself a little bit more, and he's gonna take out Garion. Garion broke his nose. He was beautiful. He was the prize of all the goblins. He had 6 goblins lined up to be his special one, and now it's all ruined.
his life is changed forever.
So that is going to be a successful hit.
Okay.
So it's up to you if you want to dodge or parry.
I will parry it, and I'm looking and I know my actual number I'm rolling against now, so I'm rolling against a 9 instead of 16.
Ah, right, okay.
So 16's a little high.
Mm.
All right. Ooh, got that 9. Damn straight.
So blinded by blood and that thing where you start crying when you break your nose, he can't quite see Garion properly, so he comes at him with a charge with the spear and misses as Garion parries him out of the way, which opens him up beautifully for a counterattack. However, it is now Ortlieb's turn.
Oh, okay. Ortlieb is going to continue with the punches, because that seems sensible at this point. I am capable of grappling, but I don't think that there's any reason to do that right now. So
Not trying to run yet.
Is that one of
no,
your special things? Do you have like a grapple?
I
stuff?
can have a grapple, which I imagine mostly is just sitting on people. It makes sense to me. That's how I fight. That's when I'm feeling.
That's your secret combat technique.
Yeah, when I feel threatened, I sit on people.
Love it.
Yes.
Anyway, so we'll would we like
Okay.
to mechanically resolve this?
Yes, I rolled a 9.
Nice.
So I believe I hit.
I'm not even gonna have him dodge or parry this. Otley, you just sit on this goblin. I imagine you just sort
Hit
of
him.
like plant, launch, turn, but, and then
Huh?
the goblin is bam on the ground.
It's graceful, really. He has a little song that he sings to like remind him of the order of things to do it. It's beautiful.
Like in Miss Congeniality. I love it.
Sure, we'll go.
Solar
Okay.
plexus, instep, nose, groin, sing.
Yeah.
So, as Ortlieb tackles this goblin to the ground and sounds of combat have made their way down in the cave, you can hear rumbling from within a big, booming, deep voice that says, "Oi, who the fuck is in my cave?" And that is where we will end it for today.
Nice.
Woo! Exciting.
Make sure you tune in next week for more The Dark Eye.
Dun dun dun.